Hello and welcome everyone to the first debate. I think it's the challenge debate, the great debate, whatever we decide to call it. I'm here with my friends and co-hosts. We have Chris from the Nullified Take. Hello, Chris.
Hey
How you
guys.
doing?
Good, man. How are you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. And the great philosopher Nickelback said, "It's been a while." I think it was Nickelback. Chantele, how are you doing?
I'm ready for this. I'm excited just to hear what all these takes are going to be. Sometimes I was chuckling when I was laughing, like when I was like writing out some of my takes. I was like, do I believe this? And I actually started to convince myself sometimes. I was like, wait, hold on. Do I not hate this person anymore? This isn't possible. And I may have convinced myself. So let's see if I can convince you guys and our audience here in the chat.
I thought I was prepared until I heard Nickelback come up right in the beginning. It's like there's always something you can't prepare for.
I'm playing mind games early, so
Ooh.
so this has been a theme or something that we've been wanting to do for a while. I think this was like towards the later end of Challenge All Stars 2 that we were talking about it, and we're finally making it a reality. Now, I just want to let everybody know this is the first iteration. These are the first prompts. I'm sure if we do this more often, we'll get better at getting at each other and debating and have better prompts. But we took a whole bunch of unpopular challenge opinions from my community post and also from us three. And we decided that we're going to debate each other. One is going to be pro or for something, and the other person is going to combat it. And to make things interesting and to make us squirm a little bit more, we try to give each other the other side of the argument that we don't feel the real feeling for. Like, well, I mean, I'm gonna be that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me doing the Tory debate later.
I am doing a Tory. I'm for Tory at one point. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, we're all gonna be taking sides that we don't necessarily agree with. Maybe like trying to see it from a different perspective, but also we really had to do our homework instead of just having our own gut feelings. Like we have to go against our own instincts. I guess I'll turn it over to you guys. What did you think about when doing the research, or however much research you had to do, Chantele?
Well, I definitely was kind of going back because I had to be like, okay, what happened in some of these episodes, some of these challenges? What were some of the momentous moments? And trying to find any little thing that could support my argument. And so I do feel that like there was a lot that we kind of covered. And so maybe next time, like we'll be more focused and like do like a really strong, like, long debate about something. And I only do maybe 2 as opposed to like 10. And so that I found just a little bit like troublesome, is like being like, oh my God, there actually is a lot of information that we can have to like, support any argument on either side. So I found it very interesting and it made me want to do more. I was like, okay, once we do this one, we'll get this one out of the way. Like, I can't wait to plan for the next one because I think it's going to be even better and better and better. So it was cool.
Definitely. The Hangout Room says that for you to attend to your channel, Chantele. I don't know if they're joking or being real.
Well, I told them that it's like on this channel, so I just had like I'll just end it. That's basically what I'll do. So I'll just go with that. Don't worry.
All right. So I was nervous coming into this. I'm not gonna lie, Drew. So I think for me, being a new school fan and someone that sort of got into it from Fresh Meats 2 onwards, and having seen most of the season ones, like from that point on to where we are today, I did have to go and do a little bit of homework on some of the earlier stuff that happened for some of the people that I'm going to have to defend. I think, Drew, you made it pretty easy. It's maybe like once or twice where I've got to defend someone that had a really big showing even before Fresh Meats 2. So in general, I think in that sense that I just had to do a little bit of homework. And like I told you beforehand, I might be debating against you, but I went to your past self and looked at some of your summary videos on some of the contestants that we'll be talking about. So you might be having to fight against me on your own takes and what you said about some of the players way back. So I'm looking forward to see how much of your takes have sort of changed.
Wow. I hope that my cringy past self trying to like talk to a camera and not stutter as much could have helped you, or maybe sabotaged you. You never know. But yeah, this was a little bit of a learning curve because I know you are somewhat of a newbie come to the challenge, so I didn't want to give you too much older stuff for your first time. I know you're kind of watching back some of the older seasons. I know Chantele gave you a link, so I kept the older challenge stuff for me and Chantele. And also Chantele brought this up earlier. You like to be in the middle of the road. You don't take too much takes too far one way or the other. So I mean, it was difficult to try to throw you a curveball starting this out.
And I'm gonna say that looking at it, I was like, oh, what? I'm gonna have to have a very strong opinion one way or the other. I can't be the middle of the road this time because normally I'm like, right in the center. You and Chantele, you're the yin and the yang to the podcast that we do normally when we do the challenge takes.
But
I do think one thing I do have is very interesting and different takes sometimes because I'm not from that challenge sort of, I guess, historian previous seasons. I haven't been on Reddit very often, so I don't know what the takes of a lot of these players are online. So maybe I'll bring some fresh perspectives into some of these debates. Let's see what happens today.
We will see. So we have a good amount of prompts. We might not get to all of them because, like we said, we don't know how this is necessarily going to go. I kind of allotted like 5 minutes for everybody to get their initial case out there. But if we go longer, we can go longer a little bit, and then we can have a little bit of a rebuttal back and forth if there is a rebuttal from each side after their initial arguments are put out there. But we have like 15 prompts, which we probably won't get to all of them. We'll save some of them for next round, or if we get some spicier takes or ask for more from the crowd. But let's start off with one that I came up with, and it was from recent social media activity, and we're gonna hit it right out of the gate, going to Paulie and Cara. And so recently, Paulie wrote on Twitter that a lot of his castmates or ex-castmates are coming to him privately to apologize for spreading narratives and lies about him that could have been the reason why he hadn't been asked back on the challenge. Then on the Challenge Shade Room Instagram post, Cara wrote that everyone can freely hate Paulie, but we can't deny he crushes dailies, and to the fans that hate them, we should all want them back on the show. So yeah, they are not holding anything back. So the debate will be, Chantele, you have to defend Paulie as being a great player and that the show has taken major hits without him on.
It's too easy for Chantele. She loves Paulie. It's too easy.
And Chris has to say the show has been better without him. That's the two debates.
Okay. Who's first?
Chantele, you can go first. Ladies first.
All right. So Paulie Calafiore. He is a Scorpio from New Jersey. He's turning 34 this November. His reality TV career seemed to have begun with him following in the footsteps of his younger brother, who competed and placed second on Big Brother 16. Paulie played 2 seasons later and definitely made an impact. He placed 8th, lasting 65 out of 85 days, and was a comp beast, winning 2 head of household and 3 vetoes. His ability to compete piqued these interests of the challenge gods. He's from an old school Italian family. He doesn't believe in second or third place. First place has always been what has been expected from him and what he expects from himself. Being number 1 is what he's bred for. Paulie was a Division I athlete and professional soccer player. He was on the path to the World Cup when he had an injury that made him have to change directions. He's always training to become a better athlete. He even turned down a recent season of the challenge because he was training to compete in the Olympics. He competes at another level. He has Turbo putting him through a training regime for him to compete in just a fight. Paulie goes to bed early. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. And he may have a lot to say, but his chirping is never substance-induced. He doesn't believe in participation trophies. You either win or you go home. He's only played 3 seasons of the challenge and still managed to accrue 20 daily wins. Nelson Thomas, who is very supported by all the fans of the show and the production, has only had 8 daily wins, competing on 8 different seasons. Jordan Wisely, who we all have grown to love, has been on twice as many seasons with only 21 daily wins. Paulie's trajectory was to become one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time. Paulie took pieces of CT's game, Wes's game, Bananas' game. He hung out with Bananas in real life and gained a lot of game knowledge from him. He adapted his game from all the best players that we've ever seen on the show. Paulie takes the challenge very seriously. He practices puzzles. He does math practices. He practices swimming. He's memorable. He's cutthroat. He is savage. He wants the show to be competitive, and he thinks about ways to make the show interesting and exciting. Paulie's not scared. And if he had the opportunity to rebuild his image, he would have an arc similar to Jordan Wisely. Jordan was deplorable on his first season of The Real World, but he has been given the time and the opportunity to gain our respect for him as a competitor. Paulie has the potential to beat the records of the greats, but his potential has been stifled because these new players are scared of him. Point blank, period. Paulie smack talked Josh and in company one night out when he was completely sober, and Josh pretended that he was punched by him and lied to it to production. So we have seen how powerful Josh's tears are with production. And in this case, Josh's tears were enough to prevent Paulie from returning to a recent season. Paulie is tough. He's a bit scrappy, but Josh, he instigates a fight and then he runs scared to the producers. The producers sided with Josh, which prevented Paulie from living out his destiny of becoming one of the best challengers of all time. He's had 20 daily wins in 3 seasons. He has a 50% win equity in eliminations. On Instagram, he has 276,000 followers, and that is way more than Josh Martinez, who only has 231,000, and he's the production pet. And even Nelson Thomas, who I've also mentioned, has only 227,000 followers. Paulie calls people out, or people call Paulie out because they know that he most likely won't be back on a season, and they never will actually have to put their money where their mouth is. They are clout chasing with all the call outs, making it appear as if they are fearless, but really they're shaking in their boots. Paulie is an amazing player. And I know that if he was still on the show, these last 3 seasons would not be boring. The show has taken a major hit without him. We deserve to have competitors on the challenge. We deserve to have Paulie back on the show. The challenge gods, please give us challenge fans what we are craving and have real competitors back on this show. I guarantee that if Paulie comes back on the challenge, the ratings will go up, and I'm ready to start a petition here.
Wow, with like 30 seconds to spare. That was incredible. I don't have anything written like that. That was like on a teleprompter.
I was going to say, I'm a bit nervous. It sounded very professional. Good job on that. And that's what happens when you get an actress on a podcast like this.
All right, Chris, now it is your turn to combat that and why the show is better that Paulie has been off of it.
100%. All right. Well, hard to follow on with the professionalism that you just shown there and how you put that together. But I'm going to start off with Paulie being all bark, but no bite. You know, my competitor here in the debate has mentioned that there's so many people that are so afraid of having Paulie go up against them in the challenge. But the one opportunity that Paulie had to prove that his money is where his mouth was when Kyle called him out and said, "Come at me, bro. I'm in the hall brawl. Take me on. You've been talking about it the whole season. You want to take me on." And Paulie did not take that opportunity to go down there and put up and shut up. So, in my opinion, Paulie is definitely, he's an athlete. He's someone that is super good when it comes to the physical stuff. He does all of these things outside of the challenge, but he's also the definition of not following through with the promises that he makes on the challenge. When you look at Paulie's performance, he has been to 2 finals in 3 seasons. Given Final Reckoning, he was definitely helped by a broken twist when it came to the Redemption House, being able to get back into the show quite a few times. He probably should have never even made the finals in his first appearance, and he was very lucky that that twist helped him get there in the end. The other thing when it comes to Paulie is that Paulie is one of those people that gasses out when the big stage comes up. When you see the finals happening, like for instance in War of the Worlds 2, he couldn't even compete. He couldn't finish. He had the ladies in his team, do all the hard work and all the hard lifting, and he was talking a big game the whole season, like, I'm going to be able to smash it. I'm going to be able to run past every single person here in the final. I'm going to win this thing. I'm the greatest. I was bred for it, like my competitor here in the debate said. But when it came to it, he gassed out. He was on the floor. He looked even worse than Big Easy. And that's not a great comparison when it comes to being in a final, having to try and finish the race and show how great of a competitor you are. Now, another thing I want to bring up with Paulie is that Paulie does bring toxicity into the challenge. You look at the whole dynamic between Kyle, Cara Maria, Paulie. Kyle has become so likable in recent seasons. He's one of my personal favorites when it comes to the challenge. I like to shout for Kyle because he's the agent of chaos. If he was to come back, would we potentially see this whole old storyline between the Kyle and Paulie rivalry, the Cara Maria rivalry come up? I'm over it. It's a snooze fest. I'm not here for it. I don't want to see it in front of my screen again. So that's another reason. Save Kyle. Keep Kyle on the show to be the entertainer that he is. Don't drag him down to Paulie's level of drama on the show by bringing Paulie back. Another big thing here for me, when we look at it, Paulie, he has got a very interesting way of getting in people's faces, and maybe he got a little bit too close and personal with Theo when it came to the altercation that he had with Theo. Now, I know we all find this quite funny, right? But if the tables was turned, if this was a woman that he kissed on the challenge, unsolicited, Theo didn't ask for it. Would the conversation have been different? Would we have looked differently at this? And I think that there's double standards in regards to that. So Paulie definitely crossed the line there. You should never get in someone's personal space like that. And I think therefore alone, I don't want to see him back on a show because he doesn't know how to control his own temper. He's basically a 12-year-old boy in a 34-year-old's body. And I don't want to see that on the show. We have moved on past this when it comes to the challenge. For me, Paulie brings nothing but drama, but not the good kind of drama. He brings the kind of drama that is toxic on the challenge, and also he makes the seasons boring by creating these big brother type of alliances and never really ever having to go down there and prove himself. He talks a big game, but like I said, all bark but no bite. I rest my case, Drew.
Yeah, right. Well, one thing I do want to just kind of bring up in rebuttal here is the fact that a lot of our favorites have gassed out in finals. We see CT not being able to make it up the mountain when he was really steps away from winning with DM. We've seen Wes being carried by Kenny. Like, we've seen our favorites that we respect and we feel like they're great competitors, they're great for their shows, gas out in finals. So I just don't think that gassing out is determined on whether or not you are a good competitor or not, or whether you're good for the show or not. Definitely things if like high altitude that you don't train for necessarily, or you're out in the desert you don't necessarily train for. These are different weather conditions that are not factors that people may be bringing into their training regime. So I think that if we put in as much time and effort that we put into all these other new players, like Josh has a gazillion seasons, like I haven't seen him really improve his game and really bring that much to the show. If we put as much effort into Paulie, he will evolve into a competitor that will, back up his bark. We will see that happen from him because he'll have no choice. He'll have other opportunities to actually show what he's made of. So I think that we are limiting him, giving him the ability to show what he's made of, because I think that they're scared that he actually might prove them wrong.
Well, some of those favorites may have, gassed out in the past, but I don't think any of them have ever talked themselves up to the same level that Paulie has by saying that they're the greatest, saying how they were going to humiliate everybody in the finals, and then ultimately fail in such a dramatic way like Paulie did. So I think that with Paulie, he's had 3 opportunities on the show so far. He hasn't really shown me anything to think that he's going to lift the game up when it comes to the challenge. He's going to do anything positive on the challenge where people would want to see him back on the show. Like I said, for me, whenever he's there, he brings down even the level of someone like Cara Maria, who was a fan favorite for so many seasons. Like, people loved her. She was the face of the show, the female face of the show for such a long time. And people turned against Cara Maria because Cara Maria herself became toxic because of Paulie. I just don't want to see that on my screen. I want to have Cara Maria back, the one that was the underdog fighting that we always used to shout for. I know that in their personal lives, they'll probably always be together, or that seems to be going pretty well. But on the challenge, I think Paulie brings out the worst in people. So it's not just about him himself and what he can do, but it's also about him just really lowering everybody else on the TV show and making the show unenjoyable to watch.
One thing I just want to lastly add, just to on top of this, is that I think that, us as viewers, and when we're looking at Polly and Cara Maria's relationships, our ideas on how a relationship is supposed to be and how people are supposed to be acting is also really informing how we are treating Polly as a competitor and even Cara Maria as a competitor. And I think, they have an unconventional relationship and how they live their lives. We're kind of taking that into consideration when we are judging Polly's performance as a player, and he's changed Cara, and now Cara is a different person. Well, why is Cara not allowed to now have a backbone and now being able to stand up for herself and now be able to call people out? It seems that we were only satisfied with having Cara Maria on our screen when she was the punching bag for everybody. And as soon as she decides to, stand up for herself, we're blaming Polly for making her not be a punching bag anymore. And we're looking at her in a different way. And so I think that Polly has actually been really positive for Cara Maria and how she identifies and how she is as a competitor. And I think that that's because he is actually really a good person that wants to see her do better and wants to see her perform really well. And I think that if they both got the opportunity to come back, I think that they would show us what we've been missing.
All right. Chris, do you have any last second to add anything?
No, nothing else from me. I rest my case. I don't think Paulie is going to add any value in the show moving forward. This has been a lot of fun though, because it's been fun seeing Chantele defend Paulie, because I know it must have killed her inside.
All right, so we're going to turn it over to the chat real quick as we're getting ready to do the next set of arguments. Who won this round? And we're going by arguments, not by if you like Paulie or don't like Paulie or like Chris or Chantele. Just go off of who debated well, who was the most convincing, and try to put your personal feelings aside from Paulie and Cara and who had the better points. That was really fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Somebody was asking if I was having fun watching you two go back. I was like, yeah, I am. This is really fun. It's making my palms sweat a little bit because I'm like, because I'm sitting here going like, wow, they're going in. I don't think I have my setup where I'm going to be going in like this, especially for some of the arguments that I have to go through. It looks like we have, I think I'm seeing a lot more Chantele than Chris on here, which is very surprising. I mean, we're getting. I'm just saying because of the Paulie argument and being for Paulie, but there's like there's a good amount of comments going back and forth. This, of course, does not count. You can't put their names together. But it looks like Chantele is getting the win here. I think this is going to be really tough to beat Chantele tonight. I think she's going to come in fiery with her teleprompter and her great.
Yeah, it was I was definitely shocked to hear Chantele as well put together and prepared for this as she was on this. And I think
they're all just going to go downhill from here, though.
Yeah, and as the votes came in, it's quite interesting because I know that we probably defended the opposite arguments of what we both believe to be true on this one. So it was a lot of fun to do. I know a lot of people are like, shut up, Cara's not that bad because of Paulie, or Paulie's doing good. But, I actually, I think you did a really good job, Chantele. And it's fun to defend a counter argument from what you probably would have done if you could choose what you would actually do in the debate.
Well, I have to say that when I was younger, I did want to be a lawyer, and so it actually was interesting because part of doing debates and stuff like that is finding out all the positive things about something that you might not necessarily agree with, and so it was kind of fun.
I could see that. Good job.
Yes. Well, Chantele wins the point, so she'll get to tap this one out. She gets to hang out and watch all the
carnage.
Well, maybe carnage. I mean, it's gonna be Chris and I going after each other. I don't know if it's gonna be carnage. But on my community post, Brandon Capone wrote, what about a debate about whether the show was better before or after players from shows like Big Brother and Survivor joined? Now, to me, that's a weirdly worded because there was so many seasons beforehand that made the challenge what it is. So I don't think that's a very fair debate. I think it's more of, is the show better that they now open their doors to Big Brother and Survivor? So Chris is going to be on for the show being better now that they've opened the doors for Big Brother and Survivor. And I am on the side of no, it is not better. And it may be getting worse. So Chris, you are going to take the lead on this one.
All right. Pass me the Big Brother question, obviously in front of all the challenge fans that hates Big Brother. But let me make the case for why Big Brother is a good thing for the challenge. Now, the challenge is amazing. It's a great format. It's a great show. There's a legacy and a history that comes with a show like the challenge, where you've got these players that have played many seasons for years and years. You get your favorites. You get really invested with them. You see a young CT be a delinquent basically on the show and become the man, the dad, the husband that he has become now on the show. And with that comes a lot of love for characters like CT and other favorites on the show, like the challenge. So to be the new kid on the block, to be the show that is last minute being entered into the challenge is always going to be something that was going to be difficult for fans to palate. And it's not palatable, I guess, when it comes to having these new shows come onto the show. But the key thing with Big Brother, though, is that it has widened the horizon for new fans like myself to come and watch this show. I didn't know what the challenge was prior to Big Brother. When I heard that Devon and Josiah was going to be on a season and Paulie was going to be there and it was in South Africa, all the things aligned, all the stars aligned for me to go and watch that season and fall in love with the challenge, to where now I podcast about it. I talk to you great guys about the show on a weekly basis when it's on air. And I think that it hasn't just been someone like myself that have come to the show due to Big Brother. I think there's a lot of other fans that love shows like Big Brother, Survivor, the wider reality TV shows that are out there that have now come to watch the challenge. And I've stayed for other players. Like I came for the Big Brother players, but I ended up loving a lot of the challenge players as well when I actually started watching it. And I wanted to go back and watch some of the history of the show. The other thing with Big Brother as well is you can hate them or love them, but you've got to admit that they're super competitive. They've won 23 out of potential 44 eliminations that they've participated in with players from Big Brother. That is massive. That's nearly 50% of eliminations being won when these guys go down there and they have to actually perform. They have had 78 daily wins in between all of these players, which is massive. They've had 10 final appearances, and out of the 25 appearances that they've had on the show, 25 individual appearances, nearly 40% there of Big Brother players have made the finals in the appearances that they've had on the show. So, if you look at the last couple of seasons, it's been boring for some people to watch because Big Brother has dominated the strategy. They've really taken a foothold on the voting and staying within the game and making these finals. But you cannot deny that Big Brother has had a fundamental impact in the way that the game is going to be played and the way that the strategy is going to happen on the seasons. And actually, when it comes to playing in finals, when you look at the Big Brother players that are currently in the season, they're all extremely competitive, and they definitely show up to compete season and season out. That's my case.
All right. Now it is time for me, and I mainly did against Big Brother. I mean, Survivor players actually bring in decent strategy. For some reason, they are able to just meld within the game, and they actually have a good personality, good showmanship on the show. We have Turbo, especially the international Survivor players have done really well. But by Big Brother coming into the challenge, they turned this from drama-filled, hard competition reality show to a game of friendship. And not to say that the game wasn't mainly about friendships and alliances before, but it's different in the realm that MTV needs to start breaking up the Big Brother 3, which is Casey, Fessy, and Josh. I mean, when we first saw Big Brother coming on to do the show, it was Natalie Negrotti. We had Josiah and Devon. They were getting thrown in over and over and over again. And now it just feels like the newer Big Brother players, haven't like earned anything in the game. They haven't really been targeted, but it's because of the friendships that they were able to make super early on, their physicality. I mean, that's all Fessy hides behind is his physicality and his friendship with Josh, who links him to everybody in the show to where they don't take a shot at him. I want to say that on Challenge 37, it was unbearable how much friendship talk we got. And it stems from the Big Brother people. Back in season 23, Battle of the Seasons 2012, Frank said strength comes from numbers and not in personalities. To me, that just spells Big Brother. We're going back in time. And what did the challenge do back then? Because they saw it was like a link of friendship and alliances and numbers game. They came out with the kill cards and they had to just disband everybody and nerf the numbers. And it looks like we're having to go back to that. So with the kill cards, Big Brother has brought in a level of predictability with their friendships and numbers on every single season. The drama that they bring on the show isn't exciting. It's calculated. It's for views. It's not anything real. I think Paulie even said like, oh, you want me to be on the show because I bring real drama. It's not real drama. You just keep on going over the same thing over and over again. How many fights and how many times did he press foreheads with Kyle in both seasons of War of the Worlds and War of the Worlds 2? It's not real at that point. You're just wanting to do it for camera time. And that's not what we want. We want real drama. We want substance. And we're not getting that from the Big Brother players that are on the show now. Casey is neither seen nor heard in any of the seasons except until the finals. Fessy is terrible strategically. And otherwise, his size and friendship with Josh and Casey really keep him safe in the game unless they get a fight over pizza. I mean, and that's just not real at the end of the day. If the challenge continues on the way they're going, I think Big Brother could be the steep downfall of the challenge because of the players that they bring on from Big Brother. I mean, how many seasons do they have to choose from? And they choose those three and they keep with them on the same path. Bad. Survivor, good. Survivor is great. But I don't think it's necessarily the show is like super better with Survivor players and Big Brother players. I just think that they can meld better, but it doesn't really add too much. I think it's just casting too wide of a net at this point. Done.
All right. So I hear you on a lot of these arguments, but I flip you the three Big Brother players that have been the issue apparently on the challenge new seasons. And I'll say there are only three Big Brother players. What are all the challenge veterans doing? Sorry. So if you look at it, the challenge veterans outnumber the three Big Brother players every single season. Why are they allowing three players to dominate the strategy on a daily season? So I think that your big issue here lies with the challengers such as Nani, Devin, the people like Tori this last season that wanted to work with the three Big Brother players instead of taking them out to begin with. Three Big Brother players does not, represent a whole franchise of Big Brother as a whole. And I don't think that the problem lies with Big Brother as a franchise coming into this season. I think the problem lies with the production team that, at the end of the day, are not making the right choices and splitting these three people up to begin with. But how weak does your franchise's strategy have to be if you cannot take three players out? That is my argument there. These three players do not have the strength over the whole season. If they wanted to take them out, if they wanted a different narrative, they could. So production has to look at the challenges that they keep bringing back, the veterans that they keep bringing back each season, and they have to bring back less followers. They have to bring back more people that have got an opinion and a strong mind of their own. If we look at All Stars 2, it was a divided house. Not every single person wanted to do what the main alliance wanted to do, and it made for an exciting season, having the King's Palace versus Durrell's alliance on the other side, right until the end where it was going back and forth. But the challengers, the veterans that they keep bringing back on the challenge are followers, not leaders. They're not people that have got a strategic mind of their own, and they're letting Big Brother roll over them at the moment. So what we need is for them to take their own stance and bring their own strategy to it. Another thing that I kind of forgot that I also wanted to mention is that let's not forget that Big Brother did give us two great female winners in the last 2 seasons in Casey and Amber, who also helped with representation on the show. So I think that Big Brother has really brought a wider audience and as relating to a lot more people because of the casting that they do bring into it. Like I said, the problem does not lie with the 3 players being casted. The problem lies with the challenges letting them get away with it, and with production not splitting those 3 players up or not bringing better veterans back to play the season to go against them.
Yeah, but they suck. No, I'm just kidding. I'm done.
That's not an
I
argument.
can't combat that. I agree. Like, it's the casting.
Can
I
I
did not expect
interject?
that.
Can I just pull one point that came up though? That just
But it
like,
doesn't count. You guys can't vote on Chantel's argument. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you can
No,
vote,
well-
but I think Chris wins this. But you guys can vote while Chantel is talking about her
Well,
points.
the one thing that like you're saying that like why can't the other challengers take down these vets take down these 3 people that are running the game? It's because they're beatable. They want to run the finals with them because they can beat them for the most part. Like Casey, I think she got lobbed this final this season. She wasn't running it very well. Yeah, she played the whole season decently well, but at the final, she didn't. I don't think that she deserved to win it. And I actually would say that maybe Tori deserves to win.
Can
the
chat
final.
remember this for when you have to defend Casey against me later on?
Do I do Casey?
Yes.
I don't even remember writing that. Okay.
It might be Drew. It might be Drew. I don't know. But I'm hoping you're helping me.
I think I did, but I don't remember what I wrote. But my point is that like they're not intimidated by those 3 players, and so like yeah, let's hide behind these numbers. If we can hide behind them, we're not going to be taken out necessarily, and so that they're able to get themselves to the end, and then for the most part beat them. Like Josh and Fessy are very beatable, and like Casey was beatable up until this season, but she just got lucky. So I don't think that that's necessarily an argument that people could just take them out. They don't want to take them out because they're not threatening. Who cares?
Well, the problem is if you don't want to take them out, you keep 3 players together there that dictates the vote and then vote you out. Not everybody can run the finals with alliance as strong as the one that they've got. So you either take them out or you get voted out along the way. So if you're complaining about Casey and Fessy and Joss being dominant in the strategy and dictating the direction of the vote, like I said, it comes down to the players allowing it to happen. There's more of them. They could definitely vote them out. Like Hangout Room says, conclusion, the vets suck at the moment. There's better vets that are not sheep and won't follow these guys. Bring them back. Bring some counter people back. Yeah, that vote's over now. So yeah, well, Paulie will probably just fall into Big Brother Alliance in any case. I don't know. So I feel like that may not help. But yeah, the casting has got to change things up. They've got to break them up, or they've got to bring players in that are going to play their own game.
Yeah, so the votes came in. I think I got 1 pity vote, and then the rest said Chris, and then some said neither. Neither of us win. Nobody wins with Big Brother coming back. So yeah, I think the main thing is, like you said, casting. They just keep on casting the same 3, but those 3 that they're casting are not great. I mean, they're bringing in,
but they don't represent, and I want to make sure that this is out there. They don't represent a whole season. There's great Big Brother players out there. They can cast the net a bit wider and bring other Big Brother players onto the show.
But the thing is they are going to be the representation if that's the only Big Brother players that they cast and or are the most loud, because they did bring in Amber, but Amber really hid behind the shadows, so to speak, until the very end. Kind of like Casey did. All right, man, I feel like I got rocked there. I wasn't ready for that, but it was fun. I liked how you were like, it felt like you were toying with me at the beginning, and then all of a sudden you just came off from like, oh, I have a rebuttal, and it's gonna just rock your world.
I learned from the first time, so maybe I'll evolve as we continue.
Oh man, I feel like I'm gonna get rocked again. I'm a very big pacifist, so just throw that out there, just to give myself an excuse. But I'm gonna be going up against the champ. It seems like when John Green wrote in my community post that Josh Martinez is more likely than Corey to be a challenge champion next, and I have to defend Josh, and Chantele gets to defend Corey, and why Corey would win before Josh, and I have to talk about why Josh will win and will be a champ more likely than Corey. Or yeah. All right, we're starting off this really well. Starting off strong right there. I got my work cut out for me, and I just got rocked. So I guess I can go first.
Whatever you
So
like.
Josh has been on 5 straight seasons, and it feels like he'll continue to be on the challenge and be a challenge staple despite being abysmal in eliminations. After his rookie season, Josh has made it far in every single season he's on, besides his rookie season, which is War of the Worlds 2. He left on episode 12 out of 16. Total Madness left on episode 14 out of 16. Double Agents left on episode 12 out of 19. And Challenge 37 left on episode 15 out of 19. Josh is not viewed as a threat. So on that and his social game, he makes it deep on every single season. And speaking of his social games, let's just talk about the way he flipped his biggest adversary last season, Double Agents. He's flipped Devin from being his hardest critic to then now he's like best friends and he has the most friends in the house. We've learned from Cara and Darrell, some of the best, that you don't need to go into eliminations to win. If you have enough friends and numbers, you can make it to the end and the finals. But we've also seen that Josh is getting better physically every single season. He's coming back better in shape. And if he's making it so far into the season, and yes, he's lost majority of his eliminations, maybe like 85%, 75%. He keeps on losing. But if he is making it all the way to the end and only having to win one elimination, if he just gets into a better physical shape, which he has been showing that he's getting in better physical shape, he wins that one elimination, he's in. He's in the finals. And we've seen him do well in mini finals. Let's take a look at Double Agents, where he gets into the top 5 with his partner in the mini final. If he just gets that to that point, which he will, because he has that social game, he has that physicality, he is building that up. He gets there into the finals, he's in. He's in the top 2, if not the top 1. And Corey, we've seen him fall flat in finals. And we've seen him get farther and farther back with his social game. What did he do this season? He went to the finals in Double Agents, came back this season. He's been on how many seasons? 9 or 10? He's up there a lot. Guess what? His social game seems to be going down lower and lower and lower. His head is not getting into it, but Josh keeps on coming back every single season. It just seems like he's getting better with his social game, his physicality, his spirit. He wants this. Heck, he's getting into fights with his best friend over injustices, but he can stay in this game. So all in all, Josh is getting better. Corey is losing out. He is getting double paychecks and he's just not with it. He's just not in it. He mentally just can't handle it. Whereas Josh is just getting better and better. So that's why Josh is going to be a champion before Corey.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh there, but just to start off, Josh doesn't make finals. He could be playing the game. People have been allowing him to play the game all along, but he doesn't actually get to the end and even have the opportunity to win a final. So I am just going to, talk about Corey a little bit. His first season was like the Real World Explosion. Since then, he has appeared on 9 seasons of the challenge. He's made it to 4 finals. He has won money. So he's won $113,750. And that is a lot more than Josh has won. Josh has made it to 0 finals and has only won $3,000. Comparatively, by popularity, Corey has 1.4 million followers, while Josh, as I mentioned before, only has 131 followers. So right out there, we can see that people actually prefer to watch Corey play the game. And when he plays the game, his win equity is a lot higher than Josh's, and he's actually making money. And so that alone is a reason why Josh is not even in the realm of possibilities compared to Corey here. So looking at these stats alone, it's obvious that Corey is more likely to win a season before Josh, and Corey has more fans that want to see him do this, including myself. Corey can compete physically and really would never be aligned. He would only really need to be aligned with a strategist in order to get a win. That's the only flaw in Corey's game, is the strategy portion, but he has the heart and he is able to actually make it over the hump that Josh can't make it over. And that is actually getting to a final. So I feel that Corey is really a lot more capable of making it happen again. He's won 2nd place. He's been 3rd place. He just needs to get to the 1st place, but Josh still needs to get get to a final. The one thing that I could say that Josh is really great at in the game is losing eliminations. So with 5 losses and 1 win in his record, like, I don't know, how are we really going to be able to support that with be somebody that is going to win a final against someone who's actually has a better win percentage and has actually made it to a final? This pretty much guarantees the likelihood of Josh going home every season before actually making it to a final. Corey has a family to fight for right now. He has been leaving his daughters for months on end, and he is motivated to win. Josh has a fat bank account. He did win Big Brother, so he has $500,000 in his bank account, plus the $3,000 that he won last season. And he's only kind of asked back to the show because he creates this drama that nobody really wants. I don't think that Josh wants to win. I think that he just wants to have his appearance fee twice a year, and that he gets appearance fees twice a year for the reunion. And that's the way that he's making his money, just being called back and being on the show. Corey is an athlete. Therefore, he knows what it takes to be a winner in a competitive game. Corey's dream was to be on the challenge, which is why he auditioned for the real world. He was hoping to be asked onto the challenge after his season, not for clout, but to compete. Josh has won his season of Big Brother because people hated Paul more, not because he was a great player. People didn't like the person he was sitting next to. If that's how we awarded the winner of the challenge, okay, well then maybe Josh has a shot, but he does not have the focus. He does not have the drive. He does not have what it takes to win this type of game. The only way that Josh would win the challenge is if he cried to production about every single player and got them all removed. In the finals that Corey made it to, he competed against the best. In Bloodlines, he competed against Cara Maria and JB. In Invasions of the Champion, he competed against CT and Ashley. Total Madness was Bananas and Jenny West. And Double Agent, it was CT and Amber. So these are all players that we consider to be the best in the game. And he hasn't beat them yet, but he's actually been able to go toe-to-toe against them. Was it Josh's only elimination win against Michi? Can we compete here? I don't even know. So Corey, without a doubt, is more likely to be a challenge champion before Josh. I will put money on that.
So I want to bring up that you did mention that Josh has won. Josh has won Big Brother, and he trains with a challenge champion in Rachel. So he's getting some inside tips. He is working out. And also Josh is working on himself and his weaknesses every single season and coming back better and better. What does Corey say every single season? He says, I need a puzzle queen. I need somebody to do the puzzles for me. Isn't this your job? Aren't you? You can't buy a tanagram. You can't buy a wooden saw to like be able to make your own puzzles. Why do you need get some math books? Why do you need that? Josh can do the math. Josh can do the endurance. Josh is coming in physically. He rocked Kyle's world in the not the All Brawl, but the Boom Raiders elimination. So that was kind of like a hall brawl. He put Kyle down onto the floor. So Josh is always coming back better and better, while Corey is just sitting there going like, I have big muscles. I can run fast, but I can't do any of the math. I can't do any of the puzzles. I need somebody else to do that for me. When Josh is over here doing tanagrams and being able to do slide puzzles and be able to have the endurance. So that's why Josh is going to be able to get there and get that champion, because he's going to make the finals. I'm telling you right now, he's going to make the finals, whether it's himself or if it's going to be by some magic. He is going to make the finals, and he will be able to get into the top spot here way before Corey can, because Corey needs Nelson to go into a hall brawl before him in one of the seasons. Corey is going to have a foot race against the old man Darrell. I love you, Darrell. If you're watching this, I don't mean it. And he's going to have to. And Corey has won nothing. He has won some money, and that was thanks to Nani for being in the back, just kind of just like walking slowly. But he hasn't won anything. Well, Josh is over here with a fat bank account. And do not say that Josh does not have a family to fight for. He cries every single season talking about his family and every dime that they need. I don't know why they need it, but they need it. So that's why Josh will win. And Josh has friends over and over again. I mean, let's talk about that Devin and Tori vacation that they did on the. He's taking people out for vacations or going to vacations.
He's a clout chaser. He only hangs out with people that could potentially be like how he can cushion himself in the game. I'm not a fan of New School Big Brother for the most part, for the fact that they're always grouping together and it just becomes a numbers game and it doesn't actually become anything about strategy. So he was part of the bullying alliance that Paul had created, and Paul just brought him along as his minion that was allowed to go out and bang pots and pans. So I know that you're trying to give a lot of props to him winning the season, but it wasn't a win. It was an anti-Paul winning. It was an anti-win. He won out of default. If there was anybody else that was sitting in that seat, they would have won as well, and he would have lost against anybody else that was on that season. So I can't really give him props for that win so much. Like, yes, he did complete it. He was able to sit beside someone and win the money. Okay, fine. He gets a check mark. But can you really tell me that anybody that that Corey went against in his final showings that Josh would have been able to beat them?
I mean, we can't
think
tell
CT
about
CT and Amber?
Invasion 29. I mean, that's not on me. That's not on me. If Josh is in that season, we don't know how that would have shaken out. Let's just be real. In Invasion, we don't know how that would have shaken out if that was the case. We could do hypotheticals all the time. We could do it all the time.
Well, I hypothetically don't think that Josh has an ounce of possibility of winning before Corey. That's
also, I don't think it's fair to discredit Josh's win on Big Brother when he had the better jury management. Let's just be real. He had a better jury management. That was Paul's downfall by bringing Josh to the end with him, thinking that he could beat him instead of Christmas. And you know what? That's going to be somebody's downfall on the challenge. They're going to be like, I can beat Josh in the finals. Let's bring him. Devin will say that. Corey will say that. And guess what? Boom. Josh runs right past everybody.
We need to maybe make a bet on this one, though, because like this, it's just 0% chance here.
I've got my, I don't want to influence anything. I would so badly want to get involved in this conversation because I'm like, I got a few things I want to throw in there, but I think it's
you can throw some stuff in there. Everybody vote.
I want people to vote
Chantele
first.
Winning. Yeah.
And don't take anything. Don't take anything that I say into consideration. It's between Drew and Chantele. Josh,
nobody clip this. Nobody clip this. I don't want this coming back to haunt me that I'm like over here fervently
Josh
sweating,
number one fan.
Trying to like
number one fan defending.
I'm not doing this. Don't clip this and be like, oh, you said this. Check out this.
You're going to be on Entertainment Weekly, and they're going to be like Angel Cake channel. Drew Angelman defends Josh.
Josh is like clipping this and putting it on all of his social media.
All of a sudden, like Josh is going to be like asking you to come on the show and have interviews with you. He'll be taking you on vacations, maybe.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think you had a good argument. Like, if Josh gets to a final, like Corey, he's not the greatest at doing puzzles, and if it's an individual type of thing, I think Josh could beat him. He's got a better chance if he gets to the final. It's a different skill set required in the final compared to eliminations, which we know Josh is horrible at, but he's got a good social game. He's got a good social political game. Like in Big Brother, you're right. He read the jury correctly. He knew he could beat Paul, and he let the jury know Paul was snaking them the whole time in the exit interviews. So he does have some strategic mindset to him. He just needs to get to a final, and he is working really hard. He's kind of like he could be the Benjamin Button of the challenge and go the opposite way and become like a younger, stronger, and better athlete as he gets older.
Oh, man.
There we go.
This would be amazing.
I would tune in for that.
This would be amazing to be like, they just show that over and over again on the screen. I saw this guy, he was talking so good about me, and I just wanted him to be my partner.
Like, look at this. Like, people think they respect my game.
He was sweating. It wasn't the lights and the sweater that he was wearing. He's so passionate. All right, so everybody voted. I got some pity votes, but it was definitely Chantele that won, and Corey won. I wholeheartedly believe that Corey. I'm rooting for Corey to become the winner before Josh does. If Josh, I don't think Josh will ever win, but I do think he could make it to a finals sometime soon. He's getting there, and then he's gonna fall, I think. All right.
I wouldn't mind being a partners with Corey for Fresh Meat 3. That would be good. I think that could be okay, actually.
Can you be his puzzle queen?
Of course I'm a puzzle queen. That's like my jams.
You should make like a Valentine's if you were like standing there, it'd just be like, I can be your puzzle queen. That way you'd be like,
and then I'll
"All right,
get
go."
like smacked by Taylor. Like, no thanks. I am scared of Taylor. I don't
All
want her
right,
to
I'm
spit
taking a
on me.
break. I'm taking a break. I took 2 shots. That was really tough. We are coming up on an hour, so I'm gonna search around to see if we can have a good one here starting.
We might have to do a part 2 at some point, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, if we did like
100%.
2 parts, like what with the rest that we prepared for next week or something, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm down.
Because like
Yeah,
we've
dude,
only done 2, but it was pretty good. Or 2 each.
You know what?
Hey Sophie,
let's go.
I'll join in with Ashley. I'll definitely do Ashley for fresh meat. So I reckon that'll be a good deal. I'm
That's
in for that.
Good partnership.
Yeah. We probably targeted immediately because of Ashley, but still, I'll do it.
100%.
No, but you could be like
yeah.
sweet and be like, no, like I'm good.
I'll be the middle guy, the neutral one. It's killing me to have to be so strong and opinionated.
I love it.
I almost think that it would be like Evelyn and Luke on Fresh Meat 2, where like Evelyn was so ingrained in the game and everybody was coming at her and she was like so big with everybody, and then Luke was just like, I just want to have fun. Let's have a good time, guys. I'm just here to compete. Look,
Yeah.
we did our
Evelyn's like,
best.
"Arr!"
Yeah, and Evelyn's like kicking a rock and punting it after losing to Landon and Carly.
I think I could do
Spoiler
better
alert.
than who is the partner, the Irish boxer or the Yui, or what's his name in this last season?
Yui.
Yui. Like I could definitely do better than Yui. Like I wouldn't work on her nerves, that's for sure.
All right, let's go to one from Haley. And since we're kind of like in the new school and everything, and we're talking about it, so she says that she gave like 21 prompts. I only picked one to give everybody a shot. So she asked, out of the 3 spy themed seasons, Total Madness, Double Agents, and SLA, I will not say those 3 words in succession. She says that Challenge 37 was the best overall season in terms of strength of cast, format, dailies, drama, and the final out of those 3 seasons, not like overall. So we have defending Challenge 37 is Chantele, and going against Challenge 37 is Chris. So
the 3 seasons, can just have the 3 seasons again? Because I thought it was just as a whole, but I'm good to freestyle on this in any case. But what was the 3 seasons?
I don't really talk
Double
about
Agents.
other seasons, so don't worry.
So it's
Double Agents.
It's all the spy themed. Yeah, it's the spy theme, Total Madness, Double Agents, and Challenge 37. So 35 through 37, they're counting that as like the trilogy, the spy trilogy or something like that, or the World is Ending trilogy. Who knows at this point? They're just picking 3 seasons and they're like, oh, they're side by side. They're trilogy now. So
can I just go against the spy theme as a whole? Like, because I think it's horrible.
You can do whatever you want. This is your...
Yeah,
well, I think I'm probably starting off, right? Because I'm for it.
Either or. If you guys want to. Well, you guys can choose.
Would you
Ladies
rather, Chris?
Okay. You go first.
I don't remember what I wrote here. Okay. Spies, lies, and allies. Okay, me personally, I love a spy-themed anything. And I think MTV knows this and knows that myself and their audience loves a great theme for the challenge. So Spies, Lies, and Allies was the 3rd spy-themed season of the challenge, which was has allowed production to make Spies, Lies, and Allies the best spy-themed season yet. So with the cast, there are so many standouts from this season. Production did an excellent job with casting new players. We have Priscilla, willing to make big moves and rattle the Vets Alliance. We have Emmy, Rookie of the Year, the only rookie to make it to the final and complete it, and even win some money. We have Emmanuel, who is a great competitor and also had a couple of love connections for the viewers. We have USA Survivor standouts in Michaela, Michelle, and Tommy, bringing the drama, willing to play the game, and willing to make big moves. Berna is willing to get into a showmance and create some drama with Ashley and doesn't back down to confrontation with Amber or anyone else. Tasha and Esther, willing to call out Vets for being duplicitous. Kells and Coriel could be groomed to go toe-to-toe with Fessy in the future seasons. These new players are going to help shape these future seasons of the challenge and were amazing additions to Spies, Lies, and Allies. The format, I think that the removal of the skulls twist was very beneficial to making Spies, Lies, and Allies the best spy-themed season. It was a nice change to have the winners of the elimination have the opportunity to choose their player, which added additional layer of strategy to the game. Moving from pairs to cells really shook things up and kept the players on their toes, and also the audience as well, not knowing exactly how things are going to play out. Having the final start individually and then move to cells, and actually having a purge of the cells within the final was something that was unexpected, and bring the pairs back was thrilling and really enjoyable to see that the format of the challenge was nothing that we've ever seen before, and really allowed us to be on our toes and for the challengers to really not know what was coming up next. I love that production is not making it easy or predictable for any of these challengers to play the game anymore. As for dailies, the names of each daily really enforce the theme, which is what I really loved about, getting into the mood of a 007 film. And these challengers really seemed excited to participate in all these different challenges for the dailies. In drama-wise, Ashley brought a lot of drama to the table with Nelson and Berna, and in her general retorts and deliberation. Huey was partnered with Ashley at one point, which was hilarious, and there was a lot of drama that came with Huey when he was fighting with, I forgot the other person's name right now. Devin and Tori's friendship was in jeopardy over Tori wanting to win with her new team. We had Pizzagate that allowed it for a big fight to be big enough to get Fessy, yay, kicked off the show. The Amber and Huey upset was really shocking with the down to the wire elimination when they were going against Michelle and Corey L. The Amanda Fessy Michelle love triangle that got messy over Instagram. Even Maria Menounos at the reunion show really went in on Fessy, asking deeper questions. She did her homework, and this was also the best reunion of all 3 Spy seasons, and was executed during COVID. So everything really came together, in my opinion, for this season, making all 19 episodes fresh and enjoyable. And there is no question, in my book anyways, that Spies, Lies, and Allies is the best spy-themed iteration of the challenge.
All right.
Chris?
I'm done with any kind of spy themes. I'm done with any of these double agents, total madness, Spies, Lies, and Allies, snooze fest that we've been seeing for the last 3 seasons. And let me tell you why, right? When it comes to these types of themes, they've taken away the whole thing about nominating people to their face. There's something about saying, hey, I put you down there. You're going to have to go in the dirt and defend yourself. That creates animosity, creates bad feelings between different people that really spices up a season. And I think that a lot of this kumbaya, let's not rock the boat, let's play together, has been due to the dynamics and the game mechanics within these Spies and Lies and Allies types of themes that we've been seeing play out on the show. It's boring. And more so important, it's kept us from seeing better themed seasons that we've seen in the past. Like, I'd much rather see another Rivals season. I'd much rather see another Battle of the Exes season. Like, I'd much rather see free agents with the kill cards and all that come back to the show. Like, there's other themes I'd like to see back on the show that potentially could create more animosity. Now, Chantele is very, very vocal on the podcast whenever we talk weekly about All-Stars, about how much greater All-Stars is. And guess what? All-Stars is not a Spies, Lies, and Allies type of theme season. It doesn't deal with secrecy. It deals with people talking to their face, people eating each other's salad, telling them that they've done that. Like, there's just a lot more animosity when it comes to those types of seasons, which creates a better viewing experience for us. It's not fake drama like they have to manufacture in these seasons in recent times when it comes to it. I would do a counter argument to say that this last season especially was a failure because of the fact that, yes, we had a great newbie cast. Awesome. Applauds. I love the newbies coming in. But guess what? They were all with veterans that couldn't protect them because of the failed mechanics of this season. Because you could vote in individuals. They weren't even safe when they were with a veteran. So it meant that none of these great rookies that we saw early in the season made it very far. The biggest non-sheep rookies were voted out in the beginning, and we were stuck with someone that was willing to follow Uncle CT to the end of the world, but would never make her own moves or think for herself, or Emmanuel that never really had to do anything because he was so protected by the people that he was working with. So we failed to see a lot of those other great rookies that we wanted to see go deeper, like a Priscilla, for instance, go deeper, or like a Corey go deeper into that season. That would have made for interesting viewing. Like, I mean, even for me, being a massive Survivor fan, I would have liked to have seen Michelle go deeper, but there was no protection for any of these rookies coming into this season. For me, that was failed. Another thing that really, really annoyed me with this season was the fact that they kept mixing up when you were in teams, when you were in pairs, when there were 3 teams, when there were 2 teams, which I think, again, if you don't let people who play the season know what the actual rules of the game is until the end, it makes it very hard to strategize for. It makes it very hard to plan. So what are you going to do as a player? You're going to go back into your cocoon. You're going to get Uncle CT to take you under his arm, keep you safe. You're going to go crawling to Casey and Nani, and that safe space that the Big Brother Alliance is creating for you in the game, and you're not going to go against that. So it made for a boring season, in my opinion, because they didn't know what was going to happen next. They tried to stay safe. Everybody was playing a scared game to try and get to the finals to begin with. It meant that a lot of people didn't even have to go down there and defend their spot in the game, which for me was not entertaining to watch. And then cherry on the cake, and I would love to see how Chantele defends this one, because we get probably one of the most undeserving winners ever in Casey because of a broken mechanic at the end of the game where you get rewarded for failing the whole final, being the worst player on the final, consistently running from behind. You get rewarded for that by winning one elimination against your girlfriend that gave it to you in the first place and didn't really want to fight you on that. Maybe she could have won against them, but Nani's heart wasn't in it. She wasn't really going to put up a fight. Come on, let's be honest. She gets to choose who she goes against or who she gets in the final, and she gets to choose CT. Like, I mean, if I was there and I could choose anyone, I would choose CT as well, because CT is like Oprah. He's handing out wins for everybody on the challenge. So I don't know about you. To me, failed season all over. Very frustrating to watch. I'm done with the spies, lies, and allies, double agents, total madness. It is total madness to me. Let's move on to something a little bit better. Let's revisit some of these old school themes that everybody loves to watch on the show, and let's get a new cast in there. I think that the spy theme is outplayed. I'm over it. Let it be a trilogy. Let's move on.
Well, just to speak on Casey at the end, we always talk about, like, if you're able to make it to the end, then you deserve the win. If you are able to roll with the punches of what is going on each season, you're able to get to the end, you are the winner and you are the deserving winner here. So why are we removing that as a prerequisite of people being deserving of their win if that doesn't apply to Casey in this particular situation? Casey has played actually a really great game for the fact that she has been able to go and get to the end. And so it just so happens that her team that she was working together wasn't working that well together, but she was able to, and it just so happens that she's with her partner. But that's also part of her social game, was that she put herself in a position that she's going to be going into this purge mid-final where she's going against somebody that is going to be willing to give her that win. And she was able to take that win and go and get the win for the entire season. So we can't really behoove the mechanics of the game and take away the credibility of Casey's win for the fact that you just don't think that she deserved it because she went against her girlfriend, or she, to change the mechanics of the game. No, we always say that how the game plays out, the people that win it in the end deserve the win. And I think that with what she still had to do, she still had to run with CT. She still had to remember like these 20-digit numbers in like at the end. She still had to do her part to actually complete it. And the other people that were going against them still didn't beat her. So she got there. She got to the end. She had the opportunity to make her pick, and she got her opportunity to win. And I think that it actually solidifies the fact that Spies, Lies, and Allies is an awesome season, because I think that each episode actually stands alone. It stands on itself. I love the holograms and the holographic work that they were doing when people were standing there. Like, I felt like each episode was a spy mini movie, and I felt that was super interesting to watch. And I think it all fit in perfectly together. And I am completely happy with the winner. So I 100% think that Spies, Lies, and Allies is the best of the three. 100%.
Chantele, I love that effort there, but you're moving the goalposts here. We're not debating if Casey alone is a credible winner. We're debating the theme of the season, the mechanics within the season, and the mechanics within the season was broken. It gave someone a participation trophy for being in the final, doing really badly, then getting hooked up with the most winningest person in that final, one of the best to ever do it, if not the best. I know it's up for debate, and All she had to do this time was not roll her ankle, not sprain her knee. She had to get through this bloody final, run with him, and just keep up to win it. Like, CT could have taken anybody else in that spot and still have won it. And we all know that Tori deserved better that season. Hate her or love her, she was outperforming Casey on that season. But the mechanics of the game, which is what I am definitely against here due to all of the reasons I mentioned before, all these twists. Oh, it's great. It's an individual episode. I don't think you truly believe that every time we watch it because, like I said, it did not allow people to be creative, split away from the group, do anything differently. They wanted safety. They wanted Nani and the Big Brother Alliance and to keep them safe, Devin to keep them safe. I mean, even Devin was playing scared the whole game. He was so petrified of going down there because he didn't know what was going to happen next. You know, when Devin, the person who's supposed to be the new Wes on the show, the person who's supposed to be the new Bananas, he becomes that boring and predictable, and that he wants to just stay safe. That just shows you it reeks of a bad twist. It reeks of bad game mechanics throughout the whole season. And the cherry on the cake was that it gave somebody that should not have won that episode or the finale, it gave them the win. And you cannot look past that. I think it's a failed theme as a whole. I'm done with the spy stuff. Like I said, I rest my case. Let's get rid of it. Let's move on to better themes that have not made its way back to the challenge.
All right. That was pretty heated. That was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I was sitting there enjoying hearing and watching the comments. So I kind of have a feeling how this is going to go, but please vote for who had the better argument, whether it's Chantele or Chris. That was spicy. That was
a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed it, Chantele.
That was so
great.
hard.
I really felt the pressure because Chantel's been owning it. Chantel's been owning it the whole time, so I had to come with my A game for this one.
I mean, you got to come with something that's easily arguable. Yes,
I'll take it. I'll take the win any case.
No, you definitely. You feel bad for me, guys. Don't worry. I'm good. Don't worry.
Chantele doesn't really like the spy theme, guys. Don't worry.
Anything that we're arguing is the opposite of what we really believe for the most part.
Well, I actually don't like the spy theme either, so I think this one was a little bit unfair because I could go into it.
No, I think everybody's against it. So, I mean, it was just difficult.
It was hard to choose anyone that was going to...
Everybody got this one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, you didn't burn a vote on me? Oh,
yeah, I got a burn vote.
But I think I lost that one, though.
You did a good effort. I was a little bit worried when you tried to move the goalposts at the end there on me, trying to go to Casey. I'm like, oh no, I hope no one's following on with that one because this is not a Casey argument. This is the season.
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, shoot, I have that argument in my Casey argument. I think. Maybe I don't. I don't even remember what I wrote.
All right. There's two arguments that we could go for here since it's going to be Chris and I going for it. And I guess, Chris, whichever one you feel.
The last one for tonight, and then we're going to come back for round two.
I mean, we can see how long this one goes, but I mean, we can stop at like an hour and a half. So we're not going for 2 hours.
Which is for more than 2 hours. We're not even halfway through, I don't think. Right?
Yeah, I think we're about half, probably.
I've done 3,
around
right?
that.
Have I done 3? Yeah. But I have 10.
All right.
To do in total.
All right. Let's make this the last one then. And
give
then
the audience. Give it an audience vote. Put 2 out for the audience. Let them decide which one.
Which one they want to hear. All right. Let me decide.
Nah, the audience. Let the audience decide this one.
Like Drew, Chris, this is super fun.
It is fun, but I'm going to tell you what. I feel like I need a break after that last one. I was going in.
Honestly, that was really, really good. I was like, man, I was just like trying to reach. I was reaching.
Okay, let's go for. Gosh, man. I mean, we could just keep with the new theme. I'll put out 3, and Chantele, you can figure out what you would think is best. We could do Nani should retire or not. We could do Wes overrated or one of the best competitors ever. Or we could do defending the champion of one has to defend Casey for her championship and the other one has to defend Amber, and who is the most deserving of their win, which I think is a little bit difficult, but
what do you guys want in the chat? Do you want us to talk about Wes being overrated, or do you want us to talk about who deserves it more between Amber and Casey?
You botched Nani? The Nani
or Nani retiring.
I think
Nani
Nani
retiring.
retiring is going to be like I kind of want to hear the arguments for that one the most, because like I can probably pick out some quick arguments for Wes, and I can pick out quick arguments for Casey and
Seeing Wes Nani come up quite a lot.
I think Nani will be. I'm curious as to what you guys have to say.
I don't know. I'm seeing a lot more
Ooh,
Wes maybe.
that's true.
Wes
Wes
is
think
coming
I've
up
seen-
quite a bit.
I think we should just do Wes, and then we'll save Nani for next time,
All right.
and we can save those other two for next time, along with me having to defend Tori against. Oh my gosh, I have to. I'm nervous about that one. Like, I don't want to do that one
Is it
tonight
against
because
me?
I know.
Is it
Yeah,
against
and it's
me?
against you, and I have to defend Tori against you. Like, I do not. I don't think I'm like mentally ready for that one tonight. So this was one that I think I came up with. It's Wes if he's overrated or the best all time, and Chris has why he's the best. I have that he's overrated. So I guess Chris, if you want to go first.
All right. Yeah. So Wes is best. Just joking. Going straight into the Wes one here. When you look at Wes as a character on this show, he is the best when it comes to entertainment, being what we see in old school challenges to be. Like, think about the amount of seasons that Wes has come on. He's been outside of the numbers. People have thrown him in consistently into the eliminations, and he's won elimination after elimination, somehow still managed to go up against some of the greatest who've played this game. He's gone up against the old school alliance that was there between Johnny Bananas, Kenny, and those guys. Season after season, he had to find a way to still get to the end while constantly being shut out. And to the point where I don't think when it comes to entertainment value, there's anybody that has given us the entertainment that Wes has given us over all of these seasons. I mean, if you look at the duel where he was willing to throw every single daily to cost his team money just to be spiteful. I mean, there's not many people out there that can do that, but he can do that because he's one of those characters that's a once in a lifetime character that you get on the show. So I think when you're looking at who's the best on the challenge, Wes is definitely one of those players that have time and time again come onto the show and have proven that he's the best due to the fact that not only is he a great competitor, not only does he hold the record for most elimination wins ever, and no one's ever actually gotten close to that. I believe he's got 14 elimination wins in the actual seasons, and then he's got like another 5 in Champs vs. Stars, which puts him at like 19 elimination wins. He's one of those players that people feared in those early seasons. I mean, he stood up to Darrell, who was someone that was a 4 times champion, and he was in his face, did not back down. It showed that he is someone that comes to play, does not fear anyone, and they feared him, especially throughout the years when he came back for season after season. Nobody wanted to see Wes in an elimination. Now, if you're also looking at this, like how many people can say that they have had legitimate rivalries with some of the biggest and baddest players to ever play this game? When we see all these newbies playing a scared game, scared of making rivalries, you've got Wes taking on Kenny. He's taking on Johnny Bananas. He's taking on CT, Darrell, Jordan. I mean, those are all heavy hitters. Those are all really great players in the game, but he's never shied away from being in earlier seasons, villain that we love to hate on the show, and then later on becoming the anti-hero that people shouted for to take on the likes of someone like a Johnny Bananas on the show. So when it comes to West, he was way ahead of most of the people on the show. He was strategizing like a lot of these new school players are strategizing way back before people actually knew how to do it. And that's one of the reasons that he actually got as far as he went. Who would ever forget X's 2, where he outsmarted the so-called best to ever play this game, Johnny Bananas, and got him voted out, but only for a broken mechanic. Johnny Bananas actually got back from a redemption house to get in the game and take his revenge on him. Like, I still give West the credit for outsmarting Johnny Bananas in that season and being the master strategist that he is. West is the best when it comes to not only in the sense of I've won the most finals, but when it comes to the fact that he's a great entertainer. He's someone that makes you feel a certain way. You either love him or hate him. He's someone that's got the biggest rivalries in the game, and he's someone that never backs down with an elimination record that cannot be matched in the show. West deserves for respect to be put on his name. I rest my case.
All right. Pretty good argument. But Wes, in my opinion, is overrated. 14 seasons. Yes, he's made it to 5 finals, but only got 2 wins. Wes's best seasons were his first 2, where he won 5 exiles and made it to the finals as a huge underdog in fresh meat, then winning the first solo season of the challenge after a great political game and winning a tough pole wrestle with Derek. After that, Wes has been pretty pedestrian on top of his resume, besides Rivals 2, which I will get to a little bit later. Wes takes some time off from the show and comes back in the ruins to win against Nick and Chet, so what? And then lose against Kahada, one of the first semi-decent player to combat him since Derek. I mean, if we can call Kahada a really great player. Lost in Fresh Meat 2, where he was dying on a trail where his partner Mandy telling him to kick it into gear. He was part of a stacked duo in Rivals, but yet when him and Kenny came down to it, they just could not perform. And he even died in the finals. I mean, we talked about dying in the finals. He died in those finals and got a Charlie horse to where Kenny had to actually carry him. But they couldn't even beat. They couldn't even make it. They couldn't stay out of eliminations, and he couldn't make it into the top spot in a stacked duo. And yes, they won 2 eliminations, but that was against Davis and Tyree, which everybody and their mother could win against Tyree, and then Brandon and Ty. But then Wes stunk in the finals. Oh, I already said that. X's, him and Mandy won against some one and done Are You the One rookies, and then lost to Leroy in X Battle in episode 2, then lost in episode 1 by Big Easy in a hall brawl. Big Easy. Yes, it was a hall brawl, but come on, it's Big Easy. And in Rivals 2, this is where him and CT did have a dominant win, not going into any eliminations, but let's just take a look at some of the duos that were on that season. Dunbar and Tyree, Derek C and Rob, Zach and Trey, Leroy and Ty, Preston and Knight. I mean, this was tailor-made for him and CT to win. And let's just remind everybody that this was CT's like 8th season, getting it to the finals. He hasn't won yet. So, I mean, if we're talking about a good story arc for the seasons to try to like, oh, well, CT, they were putting it in for CT to win in Double Agents. They rigged it for him to win it in Double Agents. Well, what are we talking about in his 8th season? And then making it to a finals to have to be stacked up with Wes. I mean, let's just talk about it. Wes's best decision was getting into a 6-hour fight with CT where he didn't say anything and CT was just yelling in his face over and over again in Rivals because they paired up for Rivals 2 where they could actually absolutely dominate. He couldn't beat Leroy again in X's 2. Yes, a broken mechanic, but hey, that's the format of the season and he couldn't overtake it. He couldn't overtake it. He couldn't hold on to all those connections and bonds that they had over the season. I mean, he stayed in the game way longer than Bananas. Bananas comes in for 5 seconds and he just claims all of Wes's alliance members. And then Wes just absolutely gets dominated. He took some time off, came back, and he made it to the finals in War of the Worlds. But the problem with that is that it was mainly because of other people, the hiatus. And once in those finals, he couldn't combat it from Theo and Turbo. And then I don't even want to talk about what happened after this. I mean, after this was abysmal. Like, I can understand why in Double Agents, he just did not want to even return for another season. Because if I lost to Bear and then I lost to Johnny Bananas, who, yes, they both seen like 20-something eliminations, but Bananas has like as many wins as Wes has losses, yet Wes can't combat and win against Bananas. I mean, let's just be real. And then he loses to Devin because Wes just doesn't have it in the tank. Wes should have stopped. To be honest, Wes should have stopped after his win in the duel because he could not combat it. He could not come back up to the top. And yes, he went against the big players of Kenny, but look where that got him. 14 seasons, 2 wins. He talks like he has the most wins in challenge history. He talks like he should be tied for the most wins, but he doesn't have as many wins as Bananas, CT, Darrell, Landon, Jordan, Derek K. He has 2. He's tied with Kara. He doesn't even have as many wins as Veronica and Evelyn and all those other quote unquote great players. Yet he has 2 and he's saying he's the best out of 14 seasons. If Nani goes to 2 finals and wins both of them, she has as many wins as Wes in less seasons.
Yeah, we can all dream, right?
Like,
Nani's not going to go to a final and win it. That's never going to happen. But I hear what you're saying. When you're looking at Wes, you cannot simply look at what he's won. You cannot simply look at the fact that he's only won 2 finals, because his impact on the game has been so much bigger than that. Wes was one of the first strategists to use this whole thing about getting the rookies on his side when they came onto the seasons and actually getting them to turn against some of the veterans and the bigger alliances to make runway within the game. That is a blueprint that is still being used right now that frustrates us to no end when veterans use the rookies and then discard them when they no longer need them. He's a trendsetter. He's someone that started that in the beginning. You say that he shouldn't come back after the deal. Well, if he didn't come back after the deal, would CT ever have been able to get that first win that put him on a momentum roll to become one of the greatest of all time himself as well? Who knows? Because West that season with CT, they were a very, very strong pairing that season, and it definitely helped CT. I don't know if there were shenanigans and productions in the final. I know there's a lot of rumors out there always about different things happening at different times, but you cannot take away the fact that Wes, with the experience of having been in a final and having won it before, definitely was there to help CT in that final and be an equal partner to him to be able to get that win in the first place. But when I'm looking at Wes and when I'm saying that he is one of the best to ever do it here on the show, I'm looking at him as a whole package and what he's brought to the show from an entertainment value, from an anti-hero type of give you someone to shout for. Like if we were only going to go after people that consistently won the show every single time, like a Johnny Bananas, it was boring to watch him dominate at times in those mid-seasons where he had his cronies lined up to get him to the final every single time so that he could win a show. You needed the yin to the yang, which Wes brought to the show. And like I said, no one has done that better. No one has had better rivalries on the show than what Wes has had. And if we didn't have those rivalries, can you imagine how boring some of those seasons would have been? So to say that he should have quit after the deal is a very, very I think, critical observation of someone that brought a lot to the show and has given a lot to the show over the years since he's competed on the show. Now, I understand in his last 3 seasons, 100%, he hasn't done as well and he hasn't reached the targets that he's reached in the earlier times on the show. But what we're looking at here is his whole legacy on the show, not the last 3 seasons, but what has Wes done and all the time that he's played the challenge. And definitely, he's a name that the casual fans remember. He's a name that is massive. People were excited to hear he's coming back for All-Stars 3. Wes does carry a lot of weight with him. And when you put Wes back on a season where he doesn't have players at that level, playing at that level that he plays at, he stands out like a sore thumb. He's an easy target because he's a previous champion and he runs his mouth, and people know how dangerous he can be when he gets an alliance behind him and he can run that to the end of the game. The people have to gun for him early. That is sadly basically failing by success. His own success is his biggest, I think, stumbling block in these later seasons when he's come back. And let's not forget that not many people can walk away from the challenge freely and have a very successful life with Lamborghinis and Porsches and have a successful business outside of this. Wes does not need the challenge. He's successful outside of the challenge. So I think Wes is one of the greatest to ever play the game. You got to love the Ginger.
Because Wes has a professional life outside of the challenge and is successful. That's why he's the best at the challenge. No.
Well, many people have not used that platform to achieve anything. They've not become anything after the show. They only come back to the challenge. It's the only thing they have in life. Like, they have not used that platform to step up and achieve outside of it, which Wes has very successfully done and is the reason why he can take these breaks.
Wes, if he was someone that could have a great, strong social game, he wouldn't have seen 21 eliminations. He has rubbed so many people the wrong way that he can't stay out of the eliminations. And that's how Darrell got to 4 wins. That's how Kara got to 5 straight finals, but she only has 2 wins as well. So, I mean, what are we talking about here? If Wes was the best and if he was going to be able to back up his mouth and what he says is that he's the best to ever do it, then he should have way more wins than the 2 that he has. And he's playing in the same realm as CT. He's taken as many breaks and as many season breaks as CT, yet CT can get people on his side like that. Wes rubs everyone the wrong way. So his social game is bad. His strategic game is bad because he doesn't get all the people on his side. I was watching Rivals 3 today. He's trying to grab everybody. He's trying to grab Corey. He's trying to grab Nate. He's trying to grab Dario. These players that haven't played seasons. or should look up to him. Yet Bananas has them under his spell. And guess what? Wes is going out with to Dario and Nicole. Two people that don't do anything on any season that they're ever on. So that's where Wes is completely blindsided and losing focus of what he does in the challenge. Yes, he has 2 wins. Yes, he has more than some of the Corey or whatever, like some of the newer players. But when it comes down to it, Wes, the big name Wes, should have way more. But even in past challenge seasons that he's been able to be on, even on a stacked champs team, so many people were going after him because he couldn't get out of his own way. He was always in his own way.
Well, look at it this way. Whenever Wes comes back and he plays the game, people are going to tune in. Eyeballs are going to be on the TV. You know, will Wes fail or flail, or will he go all the way? He's the person that we either love to root for or love to hate. Like I said, the anti-hero on the show. And like I said, you know, winning at life at the end of the day and using your platform to transcend beyond the challenge verse, in my opinion, that's something that should be commended. I know some people have said that Bananas has gone on to do some great things as well. Bananas is obviously one of the greats as well. We're not debating if Bananas is overrated here, but Wes himself has been able to achieve a lot out of the show. So I think that Wes deserved the price that he gets. It was a good argument. I've seen a lot of people say it's pretty difficult.
I feel like I already know where this is going. I've been keeping my eyes out onto the chat, but comment on who you think won. You're not voting if you love Wes. You're voting to see who had the better argument, but vote with who you think had the better argument. Chantele, what do you think, or do you have anything to add to any of our arguments?
Well, what I think is really interesting is that both of you had a lot of arguments that were actually straight facts, right? And it's just like whether or not we want the facts to mean one thing or the other thing. And I think that you guys both did a really great job. And I was laughing because I was like, that's pretty good. That's good art. That's a good point. So I do feel as though you both represented both sides of that coin. It's hard for me to decide whose argument I actually agree with, because my feelings about Wes as a player come in and I love Wes, so I actually overlook all of the points that Drew kind of pointed out there, because it's like, but no, I love the character of Wes, and this is all part of Wes's-ness. Like, so I think because of that, unfortunately, it colors my interpretation of Wes, because I have seen his whole arc. You have seen from him being kind of a shitty person to like being kind of a meddling person to being a politically dominant person-ish, and then to still trying to get things done. And so I appreciate him as a character that keeps on coming back on our screens and still trying to make something happen. So for that, I think that I'm gonna have to side this time with Chris, even though I agree with all of your arguments, Drew, but I can't hide the fact that I enjoy Wes as a player, and I would want to see him still come back on our screen.
I was gonna say I had to like change the game up quite a bit of my arguments here, because when I read it the first time that Drew said it's like argue why Wes is the greatest of all time, and I'm like, he's not the greatest of all time, but he is in certain aspects. If you look at the entertainment value, the eliminations, like the stuff that he brings. So I had to shift my argument around that, because I was never going to win it on he's got the most championships. You know, if it was only about championships, that's difficult, because there's other people that straight facts have got more championships than him. So I really enjoyed doing this, and I do enjoy Wes as a character on the show as well. So it's kind of a little bit unfair in that side. But I will say to your live audience here, I'm very impressed by the fact that just because they're your fans, Drew, they're not just giving you easy wins here and saying, nah, we'll just give it to Drew. They've been very impartial, which is, I kind of expected to come on here and have a really hard time against you, because obviously it's your channel. So hats off to the fans for voting on the arguments opposed to whose channel it is.
Yeah, no. This is no home field advantage at all. I feel like. No, I want to be clear. I've been doing a series rewatch for a long, extensive video that I'm making on ranking every single season. And I have to say that some of my favorite ones are coincidentally have Wes on the cast. Like I enjoy them for what he brings to the show in terms of politics or or his character, his confessionals. I mean, there's just something about his character that is just so drawing into the game and the way he talks about himself. I will say that I was so frustrated when watching Rivals 3, and it was because it was so late in the game. Him and Nani won against, I want to say, Jamie and Kellyanne, and spoiler alert, but they won against them. And then in the confessionals afterwards, Nani was like, oh, I told him all season not to do any politicking or playing the game, but now I'm just going to let him do whatever he wants. I'm like sitting there going like, girl, he's won multiple seasons. Like, why are you gonna like, oh, you can't play? I mean, who are you? Like, who are you to tell like not to make deals or anything? Like, come on now. Like, seriously, like let him just do his thing and see how far you can get. I mean, he was gonna take Teresa to her first finals, if that whole Battle of the Exiled, which I have to say is bullcrap. They would have made it to the finals easily. Like, that's so garbage, in my opinion.
Well, I mean,
and they
politically,
I think it would have been dominant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an argument.
Yeah. And I mean, him and Teresa together both really competed well as well. So, I mean, it was interesting. It was, and like I said, I mean, for me, the thing with West that really stands out, and you guys correct me here, has there ever been anybody that's had more rivalries as epic as West? And like, I mean, the guy does not stand back for anyone. Like, I mean, the rivalries that I mentioned there, those are all people that you could have in the conversation as some of the GOATs to have ever played the game. And he's not afraid to go up against them, which is, in my opinion, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they really lucked out. First of all, they had a Rivals 2 like way soon after Rivals, and I don't think that there was a lot of build up for that. They were just like, Rivals 1 did really great. We need something big after how Battle of the Seasons kind of like really sunk everything. But yeah, I think he lucked out getting CT, and they were just dominant. I mean, from their politics, from their social game to just nobody wanting to throw them in, especially the women, because the guys would vote, like each person would vote on the opposite side. David, I don't have that energy. I just tried to discredit West for like 15 minutes. I don't think I can go up against Chantele on why Tori. Not tonight. We're talking about possibly doing this next week.
I think I'm fine. I'll have to double check, but I think next week will be fine for me.
Do we have enough comments left to debate?
Yeah, we have.
Next week,
I have 7 sides left to debate still.
Great.
I think we all have 7. We all did 3, right? I think.
Yeah, I actually do.
Yeah, I believe so.
3.
So it might even be 3 weeks. It might be like do 3 more. Actually, some of them are kind of short, I think. Actually.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, and some of them are, let's just be real, I don't think some of them are like super. I think there's other, like, if we could look at other prompts, I think we would find probably more unpopular opinions to really go for. But I think we definitely have room for more, at least a part 2, and then we could take some time off and then come back maybe in March or April or something.
I definitely really know that Michelle, that talks to me on my channel about the challenge, she was very excited to maybe participate. She's like, man, she's got like excited, salivating over like the people that she really despises, having to talk well about them. So she got excited by the challenge there. Funny.
I think that'd be fun. I think adding people would be really fun, especially if like, I don't know.
What if you had like duos,
comments or
like?
Something?
What if you had like teams, like, you know, you've got Drew and
1 point for
Chantele in a
us.
team, me and Michelle in a team, or something like that, or you know, you
or
get
like,
to like tag team.
Or Drew, you bring. Wait, Chris, do you have another person in your life that is a challenge fan? Like if we had like.
No, but that's normal. That's why I started. That's why I started the Nullified Take, because I'm like, I finally have friends I can talk to about all the reality TV shows that I watch. You know, because no one in my life watches any of the reality shows. No Challenge, no Survivor, Big Brother, or Amazing Race. You know, so no, not the challenge. Not that I can think of off the top of my head in any case, but yeah. I might have a new school fan. We'll see. But I think like I need someone with an experience. Yeah, I think I need someone with an experience.
Michelle like knows everything about the challenge, so that's fun.
Yeah, I like the idea of teams, because then it's like a real courtroom where it's like the prosecution side has 2 people and then the defense has 2 people, and they're like doing the whole paper thing and like talking. But
high-fiving
this was
when
fun.
we win. It was fun. I am still sweating, but it was fun times for sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling it as well, eh? I didn't think I was gonna get as into it as I am. I'm like, no, I gotta make this case. Especially
Well, I
that
didn't
second
wanna-
one going up against Chantele, because I saw comments in the live chat saying, no, guys, sorry, Chantel's just got it. She's going to kill you guys in every single one. I was like, don't give up on us yet. Like, I haven't even had a second chance
I
to
feel
go
like
here.
Chris and I should have started it out, because when I was like, oh, Chantele, you can go. And then you're like, I have a full 6-page speech here on why Paulie is great. And I was like, all right, here we go.
She's going in.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I told you
No, it's
that
great.
like I went into it.
I think it set the standard for the rest of the
Well, I
episode.
mean,
yeah, just
for me though, I really wanted to prove that it was true. You know what I mean? I took it
Yeah,
seriously,
definitely.
and so like I could easily have lost any of the arguments because, as you know, I don't really necessarily believe them or as fully like as gumption as I kind of delivered, and so I needed to give myself enough momentum really to be able to argue some of these things. So I was like, give me everything.
Yeah.
Paulie, I saw people in the audience saying that, like, I kind of want Paulie to come back on the show. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rework my Tori speech a lot, and I'm gonna get really in depth in why she should be the face of the challenge, and see if I can back up.
still
Stop
a tough.
laughing.
I mean, I can't wait. I cannot wait. Leaving here,
Me too.
Paulie Stan. What, I actually don't dislike him as much as I did before I did this assignment. So I wouldn't hate seeing him on the show again, which I can't even believe that I'm saying that out loud.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting to see Paulie's interview that he did with forgot the name of our previous Challenge Insider co-host,
Mike Lewis. I watched
Mike
that.
Lewis.
I did watch that today.
So if anybody wanted to see a bit more of Paulie, I guess a lot of people
He has
after
a
this
shirt
may
off
want to
though.
now
It's
because of,
really distasteful.
yeah, but the
It's
insights was
annoying.
Interesting. He had
Yes,
some
I agree.
great insights on that podcast in regards to some of the things that happened behind the scenes, and I thought he was quite open about it, which I thought it was a good interview. So a bit of a plug there for Mike Lewis podcast to go and have a look at that interview. I think he's coming back. I think it's inevitable. We're seeing Paulie and Cara back probably this next season or the season after that. Apparently, they were called back or asked if they were interested in the previous season, but they ended up not being able to make it because of, he was training for the Olympics. So I think it's inevitable. He's coming back. Get ready for it.
It's tough because the 3 seasons that he was on, first of all, talk about broken mechanics, Final Reckoning, most broken redemption house ever, to lose three elimination / redemption games and still be able to make it to the finals is crazy to me. But you watch him and you're like, okay, I can see the appeal of him, and I can see why people would like, oh, he's bringing something. He's bringing some arguments. He's bringing some fight. He does well in the challenges. Some of them, not so much the Purge challenge and War of the Worlds, but when doing the Cara research, which I'm still doing and putting that video together and hopefully getting out in March
2023.
But when just listening back to some of those old podcasts when he was first starting out, I mean, oh my gosh, like I got exhausted listening to some of his like phone calls that he did with Challenge Mania, where he was like yelling on the highway about like if people wanted to come at him in the game or whatever. I was like, dude, take a breath. Like, are you always like this? Like, this is intense. Like, take it down a little bit.
Drug-free, apparently.
Yeah, it's rough.
I mean, he's good TV. Like, I mean, I'll never forget Final Reckoning when him and Natalie were down and they were going to come back and they had to call someone to compete against them in the elimination. And he looked at the guys and he's like, I can't come for the guys that I want to come straight for right now, but I can go for the girls. So I'm going to choose these 2 to come in and I'm going to send the girls home. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's nasty. That was a low blow. But it's good drama. It's good TV. You know, like I think that Paulie, in a lot of ways, is a lot more, his drama that he does is a lot more authentic than a Josh. potentially just hyping it up for the cameras. Like, he actually believes what he's saying. He really gets into it. But I do think that with Josh, there is a lot more. I'm playing it up for the cameras. I know they're looking at me right now. You know, I never got that with Paulie. I thought he really is crazy, you know, unlike Josh.
He made me fully believe he is nuts. But thank you guys for joining me. I mean, if you guys, the debate is over for this time. I think the clear winner is Chantele on this one. I don't even remember some of the arguments. I know Chris won twice. I got pity votes, and then
so it's a draw. Won. So because I won one against Drew. Actually, no, did I win both against you, Drew? I might have, but I think I might have had an extra argument.
I'm Josh in this scenario. I'm 0-4 right now. Like, it's not looking good for me.
I think I'm ahead of Chantele, but I think I've had one more debate this time around. So, but I think we both have lost one. So yeah, it'll make for an interesting, So, because I think I've got 3 from 4, and you've got 2 from 3, right, Chantele? So it should make for an interesting one next time around. And I've got a feeling Chantele was prepared this time. She's coming back with even more fire next time. Like, I just know it, because she's the most competitive person out of the 3 of us.
Really? No, I'm not competitive.
100%.
I just like to win. Well, I don't play to lose, right?
Carl, I'm totally right. Chantele won overall.
Chantele always wins.
Thank you.
But
honestly, though, I love you both. Though, like, you guys are fun to go up against, and like I enjoy
this dynamic is awesome. Like, I mean, we've had so much fun laughing and talking about the challenge now for the last 3-4 months. It's been awesome. So yeah, looking forward to it moving forward.
Yay! I'm happy everybody enjoyed it. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm seeing some of the comments. I'm glad that everybody thought it was super fun. I mean, it's difficult when you're like in the middle of an argument and trying to like get your points across to be like, is everybody having fun? Like, I'm over here sweating and yelling into a microphone, and people liking this. I don't believe anything I'm saying. Like, I'm lying. But this was really fun. We're gonna talk throughout the weekend and start of next week, and we will make sure everything is cool. But right now we're making sure to get set up for next Saturday for part 2. So hopefully we'll be able to do the part 2. If not next week, then we'll make sure it's somewhere soon in the future. But right now it's next week, Saturday, and same time. And we're going to have new prompts like Nani should retire or not retire, Tori, the face of the challenge. And yeah, who deserves their win, defending their wins. We're gonna have to
go Banana's scared of All Stars.
Yeah, Banana's scared of All Stars. I mean, that's gonna be great. But oh my gosh, I'm gonna make sure I get like a 10 hours sleep before the night before to get ready.
You could easily put in CT's. You could easily put in CT's scared of All Stars as well. I reckon CT goes All Stars. It'd be a tough one for him. He's got, you know, when you look at the current challenge world, everybody sees him as Uncle CT, the legend. Everybody sort of like, you know, worships the ground he walks on. Like, if he goes into an All-Star season, it'd be interesting to see how he does.
Well, don't start putting out some of my topics for mine, because I'm supposed to say he is scared. Bananas. No,
you're talking about CT, so don't worry.
I'm talking about CT.
Yeah, well, some of the stuff he's saying about
they're kind of the
CT
same.
Putting for
I know,
yeah. Only one though actually went out to the actual area and then was like, "All right, I'm out of here, guys. No, thank you," kind of thing. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. It turned out way better than I had originally thought of when we came up with this idea. But next week we're gonna look into polls, so we don't have to just look into the chat and stuff. Some people said we should do polls, but it's difficult, guys. There's a lot going on.
We can figure that out now, though. At least now, though, because before I was like, okay, my mind's on making my arguments, but now that like my arguments are pretty much made, like I can definitely invest in figuring out how to make some sort of visual poll that we can watch.
Yeah, definitely. I think that'd be fun, and I think it would be a lot more interactive. But yeah, and maybe if we put up polls, maybe I'll win one. Maybe I could see the actual percentage of how much I lose by. That'd be great.
I like maybe those are my good arguments. You know, maybe my other arguments suck.
My favorite part in the beginning was Chris's first 2 prompts, and everybody was like, wow, Chris has gotten it hard in these first 2 prompts, but he absolutely wrecked me on the rebuttal. So it was like, oh man, Chris is really having it hard. And then all of a sudden it just went, bah! I was like,
that was
come
crazy.
on.
I don't know what that was. You know, they say you either have fight or flight instincts. I think I've got fight instincts. We sort of picked up here, and I don't know. On that second one, it just went my way. I don't know what happened. I've got tunnel vision. I don't even remember what I said.
Well, I really like seeing you opinionated. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I
Like,
should be more
whoa.
opinionated in the future. I don't know.
You're normally the
middleman,
host.
but mhm.
Yeah, you're normally the host that like does the alley-oops, and then me and Chantele make faces, and then we say what we really feel. And then now it's like, oh, we actually get to hear Chris not say like how he really feels, but like he actually had to do some work to like be like, oh, I do have an opinion, and Wes is great.
Yeah.
Well,
I haven't
also
had
we
any
can-
hate up until this point from the challenge fans. I guess I might get it now. How dare you say this, or how dare you say that? So I might have to open myself up to that in the future.
Hilarious. No, just saying that, like, and if any new prompts want to come into, maybe there's going to be some that can overtake. So if anybody from the audience wants to hear something else be argued, I'm sure that Drew wouldn't mind hearing about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking over some of the prompts that we had tonight, I feel like there could be more that are better suited for some of our so if anybody has any prompts, you can hit me up here, or when we do the community posts where we're going to have a definite time for part 2, either next Saturday or the Saturday after, or anytime, you can put more prompts there, and maybe I can hit up Chantele or Chris to swap out one of our prompts for part 2. Not the ones that we mentioned tonight, but definitely we can see if we can get something going and get some more research in. But yeah, I think it'll be really fun. Really exciting. I had a great time. I'm going to go dry off. These glasses did not work. My suit did not work. It did not make me seem smarter. I lost every time. So this is fun.
Oh, this was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I definitely think it went way better than what I even thought it would be.
I agree. I mean, I didn't know how it was going to go, but it exceeded my expectations 100%.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's something that could be a regular thing. As somebody was saying in the comments that this should be a show, and it's like, maybe it should be. So that's fun.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Before we go, I want to give both of you the chance to shout out your channels and what you're doing right now. If Chris, you want to shout out what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so thanks for anybody that's still listening. An hour and 50 minutes in. Firstly, I had a lot of fun here, Drew, on your channel. I've got the Nullified Take on YouTube, like it's spelled on the name title there as well. We do, actually, myself, Drew, and Chantele talk about the challenge. Whenever the All-Star season is going to be back, All-Stars 3, we will be back recapping every single episode. So if you do like this dynamic between myself, Drew, and Chantele, you'll get a lot more of that on the Nullified Take. So go and subscribe, check the channel out. I also do a lot of other things on there. I am currently talking about Australian Survivor, Blood versus Water. The first week is just finished. It's going to be a great season. We've got Sandra Diaz-Twan and her daughter on there. If you know who she is, you know who she is. She's the queen. And then also, we're talking at the moment about the Amazing Race 33, which has been a lot of fun to talk about as well. So there's going to be plenty more content coming out throughout the year. And hopefully once or twice, we'll get some, I guess, general topics come up as well between myself, Drew, and Chantele. We might do one or two of those as well if there's a big break between All-Stars 3 and, I guess, the next challenge season. We don't know what those timelines look like as of yet, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check out the channel. If you liked it, consider subscribing, and that's it.
Woo! Subscribe. Over here at Reality Realness with 3 S's, pretty much doing the same things on my channel as this to yours, Chris. So tomorrow though, I'm going to be doing, I want to see how it works, whether or not people are respond to it well, but I'm going to do at 1 p.m. Eastern a RuPaul's Drag Race UK Against the World. And so I'm going to do a recap of the first episode of that to see if people are interested in it and see if if I'll continue on. So if you want to check that out, come join us live and let us know that you want to hear us again, and then we'll make it a regular thing. 5 p.m. tomorrow Eastern, I will be talking about the first 3 episodes of Australian Survivor Blood versus Water. What a great week it's been. It's everything that I want Survivor to be is in Australian Survivor, and this season started out of the gate like being a top season of Survivor. So,
good.
come hang out with us and have us talk about Sandra Diaz-Twine and her daughter, who have been carrying the show so far, which is super fun to be able to experience. And then on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be doing a recap for The Amazing Race. And I'm going live after every episode of Celebrity Big Brother, either on my own channel, on Nerdtainment, or on Rob as a podcast. So I've been trying out doing a little post on my a little announcement post. It was a little bit confusing today, but I'll make it more obvious. And it's like, go here. It just so people know that like I'm not live on my channel, but and just direct them where to go if it's not already linked up. So I'll try to make it clear, but if it's not, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do my best. So I think that's all I got going on, but I probably forgot 10 things.
Hardest working woman on YouTube for sure. Chantele, like always talking about all these reality shows.
Yeah. I mean, I get tired just looking at like my subscriptions and seeing how many things are like set up. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just working on one challenge video and a review and recap for The Amazing Race, and I feel exhausted. And then seeing how much she's doing, I'm like, I should do.
No, you do. I feel like you do way more. I'm always like, oh, a new video. Drew has a new video.
Video editing is hard. Like, I mean, what do we do? We just turn on the camera and we just talk.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this was work. I mean, this was my workout for the day. Like, I think I sweat more than I did my Friday workout. So thank you again to everybody who came out to this debate. And we're going to be doing another one very, very soon. And it's going to be even more intense, I feel like we just scratched the surface and we're going to get even more into it. Especially that Tory one. I can't believe I don't know why I put that on the bill,
you knew you had to do it, Drew. You knew
I didn't have to. I could have made it easy for me. I could have made it easy for myself.
I need to hear this. Like, I'm so excited to hear this personally. This is what we are. This is the main event. The main event is Drew.
Might be the final argument that we do would be the Tory argument, I think.
Oh no, but it should be the first, maybe because so he doesn't get tired.
Set it off.
Maybe
that's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
This is what we came for. And then the rest of it's like whatever after acts.
Yeah, we'll probably start off with that one, but definitely coming back to you guys very, very soon. Thank you again for joining us, and see y'all next time.
See you guys.